Joan Carles Llull el vaig conèixer per una casualitat, perquè estaven fent feina per més del client.
I en Lluís Alfones no el conec de res, però amb aquell llinatge encara seria família meva.
I no ho sabíem, no sabien ni que eren parents ni res. El meu rebesavi, Joan Castañer, marxa molt jove a Puerto Rico a fer fortuna.
One of the people said that it's human nature to seek out your own history, to see where your ancestors came from, what they went through, what their story was, how that kind of trickled down to you. And I think that that's true. I definitely have had family members that looked into my own family's genealogy. And so I thought that this was just really interesting, and I loved the way that they kind of cut it together and filmed it, because it was a really good mix of like different interviews, but then you got to see all of these like fantastic original pictures and like some video as well, and then the kind of modern time of like what these properties looked like.
Just from the start, you know, I loved the use of black and white film and archival footage in the beginning, and even the title sequence, I thought, with the music was just so really set up the film in a great way. And yeah, it's fascinating as it is, you know, learning more about him and his family, and it's also just super touching. And yeah, like when you find out he had 4 brothers, or that there were 4 brothers, and he had natural children, and you know, just the unfolding of the family tree, and having that as a visualizer was just a great idea for the film to like track the progress throughout. So I really loved it.
This is a nice film with great testimonials and storytelling to learn about this family history, their growth through coffee farming, trading, and distribution. They tell us about the business model, their responsibilities, and the struggles, mostly due to natural disasters. It is a great pioneer and entrepreneur turned landowner, and a big legacy. It was very interesting to see some facts, like they would sell coffee to the Pope, which speaks to their rich and high quality. They also touch on the fact that the way the empire, so to speak, was built is a bit on exploiting local labor, and the whole system of having their own coin or their own currency. It is a prevalent business model with Europeans coming to America, and it is how much of the land was and mining and all that was starting to be exploited. It was very interesting. I loved all the emotional testimony and the pictures and footage from old time. It was quite good.
What a wonderful and beautifully produced documentary. I must say that I was not familiar with any of this history, and I'm glad to know it now. You know, I grew up in Florida, not far from Puerto Rico, and had a lot of Puerto Rican friends growing up. So it was interesting to know this history, you know, about this dynastic family that had so much to do in shaping the history of that region, and you know, and the golden age of coffee in Puerto Rico, you know, and also knowing the other side of it, that, you know, that this golden age was built largely on the peasant labor, and you know, it was corrupt. But, you know, so much of history is like that everywhere, all over the world, for all of time. I think that the true meaning of this piece is, in the end, the 2 guys that were the focus of the documentary, that were the relatives of the main subjects here. You know, the one guy says, you know, I'm proud of my family, but I'm no more or less for what my grandparents did. You know, and then they're discussing together, and they said, we're half our father, half our mother, and all the baggage that they bring, and then we, you know, basically push on from there and create our own identities. And wow, it's a very powerful universal truth, you know, in that for all of us. I absolutely was in love with the graphics of this piece. I personally am a lover of antique photos and old documents and letters, and I go to antique shops looking for these things myself on weekends. So I just love the way they incorporated these old documents and photographs, and the way they placed the photographs into the 3D space. And it was just absolutely wonderful. Even the end credits were cool. The drone footage or the 3D credits scrolling by. I mean, they did such a wonderful job with the graphics on this. I absolutely loved it. I love seeing the old letters and documents and the photos and the Super 8 films. It was absolutely beautiful, wonderfully produced, wonderfully directed, edited.
I thought this was a really interesting documentary. I liked the way that they included old photos and images of documents and a lot of photos of present day and past day photos. I think it really painted a picture of what life was like for people and how important the coffee business was to the families. And I found it really interesting that it took sort of like a mystery solving approach where we have the two characters sort of tracing back their lineages, interviewing other individuals and kind of piecing together the full story and then reflecting on it at the end. I thought it was a really cool documentary and interesting to watch.
You gain a sense of identity from it, since, like they said, who you are comes in three parts. Part of it is from your father's side, part of it's from your mother's side, and then part of it is what you yourself bring to the table. And because of that, all of the different cultures that come from both of your parents' sides, whether they're from the same nationality or they're from different nationalities, it all blends together. And so it was very insightful watching this and learning about just different stories. Well, not different stories, but just learning about this family and the coffee monopoly that they had created and the rise and the fall of this legacy in Puerto Rico.
An excellently well-crafted piece, diving into the interweavings of generations and of people influenced by a prolific man. I thought creatively to compile the history of one person's life can get bogged down with information and facts, but they used such creative animation of his life through the collaging effect as a really engaging way to weave together the narratives, as well as great imagery, a wide variety of people, but also an inclusion of the environment itself and revisiting history from a modern standpoint.